Welcome everybody. Today we are doing just a classic Q&A. We have no idea what direction this is going to go or what's going to come up, so it's kind of fun and interesting. I know we can derail quite a bit, so this will be interesting to see where it goes. But it's nice to have Anne back for the summer. I know she was doing so many different things in the summer. I should say Anne Hansen because we have two Annes here. But Anne, are you there? She's there-ish. We were talking
I'm here.
about
I just can't turn my video on quite yet, but I'll be there.
Okay. Okay. So I could throw it out there first to say, does anybody have any questions that they brought to the meeting thinking, I'm going to bring this question up? Because if not, you give me leeway to take it any direction I want to take it.
So a couple of
dangerous.
There's a couple of ongoing issues that I have like to bring up. One is the way the countings work with the my computer on sections. I hope I can describe this properly.
Sorry, Lawrence, we just missed the way what work?
The counting.
Oh, counting. Okay.
Oh, has your metronome been off lately?
It's always been off. Whenever it starts on a eighth note or something, and then halfway through a beat.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I have forgotten to mention this to you, Michelle. I'm experiencing that, where the metronome is kind of like, it's off. It's not on the beat.
Since when? When did that begin for you, Kemi?
Sounds like Lawrence has had it longer than me. For me, it's only been maybe a couple of weeks that I've been experiencing.
A couple of weeks. Okay. Anybody else experiencing that recently? Like it's a new thing? You, Evelyn?
Well, and it's not on every piece.
Yeah.
But I know when I get into one that it's off, man, it is just bonkers.
Is it usually when there's a pickup measure? Sorry, pickup beat?
Like if it's in 3/4 time and you're starting on
Third
8
beat.
beat, it will pick on the half beat.
Yeah, okay. So that is a known issue, and that's something that we're fixing currently. But I'm not sure.
5 months ago, I think.
Yeah, is it possible? Yeah, so it's this big update that's coming out that's going to fix a lot of the audio stuff. It's going to fix the metronome. It's going to fix a ton of stuff. So it's not just the one thing. But
an offbeat of the metronome I find only in pieces I have uploaded when I do some mistakes in the uploading. Usually it's because I use the tempo in the music score file. I have to take that out and everything is fine. But I didn't have this issue with the piano marble pieces so far.
Okay,
but
the
beginning in general, it would be cool if we had in the beginning like a few more measures or so, or it's sometimes very, very short. And if it's a strange attack, like something like 8/12 or something like that, it gets really weird.
I think there might be a buffering area. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it just takes me sometimes the time to understand how I have to count that in the beginning because it's not as I expected.
I'll have to check. I know last time when I was doing, I think it's My Heavenly Father Loves Me Secondo. There was in one of the sections that I was learning, there was literally no counting, nothing. And so I just had to like jump in when it was going. So, and occasionally it just says, go. So I feel like I'm in a race.
What happens,
Go.
Or sometimes it is like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Like 1, 2, 1, 2.
Now.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's fixing all of those issues, but it's almost like it's messing with me, you know, like.
Yeah, I think it's just the buffering maybe. Like, is it just buffering at the beginning and it's like,
I think it is for me for the buffering, but this other thing that Lawrence is talking about and that Evelyn has experienced, like maybe you guys have experienced it for a longer period of time than I have, but I've noticed it a lot in the last 2 weeks, like a lot of the pieces I've done.
I've known
And
of
that's
that
because
so
I've
far.
had my metronome turned on, because when I'm in the challenge, I use the metronome a lot
I have it
to
always,
keep me.
and I never had this issue so far.
You never have.
Depends.
Only with my own pieces, but not with the pieces uploaded by Kiana Marlowe.
Depends what the,
Yes, Lawrence.
yeah, just a second. It depends what device you're using. On the iPad, it doesn't count in correctly, but on my Mac, it does not, right? And
Yeah, I have a PC,
Yeah, I'm on a Mac.
Windows 10.
iPad all the time. I use my Mac mostly because I can easily select a little section and all that stuff, right? So, but I do use the iPad because some of my students insist on using iPads, so I want to kind of be able to help troubleshoot, right? So that's
So, Evelyn, what type of device are you on when you experience it?
A laptop.
Me as well.
But PC or Mac?
Like PC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so it sounds like it's known, they're working on it. And do you know why it's happening? It seems to be happening more recently.
probably
No,
because
that's
metronome on before. Probably.
That could be because when I learn, often I don't have the metronome on, but anytime I'm doing sight reading, I usually do have the metronome on because it helps. It's okay. Look, Michelle's face, the face of patience.
I'm trying to answer, and this.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
fine. I'll
Just
answer
come
in a
back
minute when
you're
I get
ready.
things calmed down.
Yeah. Okay, but you said you had two things, Lawrence. Didn't you?
I forgot what the other one was right now. But some of you were talking about the what was it? Oh, the very short count-ins. I had one that was hilarious just yesterday. It was in 9/4 time, and counted a full measure of 9 beats, and then it did 4 ones, and then it's on the 5th quarter note.
Nice.
I think I may have played the same piece because was it in the challenge?
Yeah, I was in the challenge. I'm going through level 5, right? So you probably.
Yeah, I may have played the same one because I was like 1, 2. Like, how long are we going to count this in? Let's get to it.
That of
Right.
Yeah, some of the more obscure time signatures, like it's hard to tell how the computer is going to read it and react to it. So they're trying to fix all of those issues right now. I'm not on the whole development side, not sure how it's going or what they're doing, but I'm told it's going to be fixed really soon. So hopefully. But it is interesting to me that it's started happening more recently to more people. That's I don't think that's known. So I'm going to kind of report that and try to figure out if there's something new that happened or an update or something that might have broken some things.
Possibly, but Lawrence pointed out to me, and I'm trying to think if this is the case. I've been using the metronome a lot during this challenge, and I don't know if I typically use it very much. I usually have it turned down. So
Gotcha.
I don't know if it had been around longer and I just noticed it because I started on the challenge and turned up my metronome. I'm not
That's
sure.
also likely because there are issues with the metronome that we've always had issues with the metronome. So if you haven't used it in the past and you're using it now, then you would notice them. So that's also likely. But I'll still try to figure out if there was a recent update or if there was something, because it's interesting that several of you are having issues recently.
What about the function now? Piano Marble now has like start here, try again, like little orange comments. How have you guys been? What has been your experience with it and with your students with that new feature?
It's great.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, everybody does. Yeah.
You too,
I've
Karen
been having
Faye?
great.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing two things at once, but yeah, that is just much more I just makes it increases your usability so much to have those features.
Because there are some people who don't like it.
Well,
Like,
there's always
it's
gonna be those
insulting
people.
their intelligence. but I think especially for young students or beginning students or just people who are new to Piano Marvel in general,
Yeah.
it's hard to know what to do next if you don't have someone telling you, and not everybody has a teacher sitting right next to them while they're trying.
Exactly.
So,
I think it works
One of my
really
younger
well.
students, sorry, one of my younger students didn't like the visual because it's all bigger now. And he was like a little bit, oh, it's really too big for me. I said, why? But I think it was just because he wasn't used to it. And now he didn't blame for it again. Yeah. Because it was covering the whole screen and
The half of the screen. Yeah.
You can actually just on mine. I found somewhat similar, and I just decrease the zoom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sort of just and
but
I got
it really
more
doesn't
music on the screen
matter.
too. Yeah,
Because actually it's just open when you do not play, and as soon as you play, it's closed. So
yeah,
really.
but still.
Well, and I wonder, I mean, we're always throwing things at development, but I'm wondering if that could be something in preferences that you could turn off, to have the option to be like,
you can, in preferences, you can turn off the guiding. Well, I'm not sure. I know so there's like one that's automatic that like automatically takes you to the next. Is that public yet, or is it just on beta? There's one
I'm going to look right now. I'm like, I didn't know it was in there. Let me check and see.
Kami, I have a switch for the brain. I just tell my student, don't care.
Oh, you know what? Let me share my screen here.
It's really important to.
Oh, I can.
Yes, you can. Sorry, one sec.
Go ahead,
Evelyn.
It's really important to share with our students that Piano Marvel is a tutorial, and it is reaching students at all levels. And also, another thing I notice is people react when there's something new. People react at first because they're not used to it, and once they get used to it, it improves. But I think with our students that might have those kinds of reactions, that it would be really important to say, well, Piano Marvel is working with absolute beginners and just across the spectrum. This is a tutorial. And I just continue to compliment the technical staff that's working on all this stuff. I guess because I remember the beginning. And
how bad it was back then,
I'm sure it wasn't.
But Evelyn,
it's just tremendous. And I just have a heartfelt gratitude for the way Piano Marvel has developed and kept in mind the student and how to help them. I just think it's great. And if I have a student that is mumbling, I kind of try to remind them of that.
Yeah, and the start here is very subtle. I mean, it doesn't make any bing or bong or anything. It's just there, and you can ignore it easily. Just jump over it and do the next stuff if you think that is not the point where you should start. And it jumps where you stop. So if you don't start where it says, you go a level higher, it will say the next time start here. But it reminds you where you were, which is also very nice.
Yeah, I also like that, I've been on a lot of websites where it has like these pop-ups that point to some feature and you have to like hit close on the pop-up, to move or next or whatever. I like that there's no pop-ups here, that it's just something you see and you can ignore it or you can do something about it. But I do want to show, and I want to say, if all of us came from this place of like gratitude and just seeing things from such a beautiful perspective as Evelyn,
Evelyn.
What a better world everything would be in general.
Do you remember we have we had papers and we had clips and we had all these
Oh,
signs in
yeah.
color, and nobody said, "Oh my goodness, I'm intelligent enough to find the page." You know, I mean, it's just a clip. But now it's technology and it's very interesting. I think it has a lot to do with this human machine interaction, which is still in the beginning. If that would be on paper, you could even highlight and mark and do whatever. And they just think, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to read. This teacher's highlighting so much, but nobody would say it's insulting.
Yeah.
Well, good point.
And it
Let
might
me
be.
share.
It goes pretty far.
I don't know, it sounds
Insulting.
kind of funny when you think about it, but that's really kind of, what's going on. But
People
let me,
are very sensitive.
well,
It's gonna be.
we got to get annoyed about something, right? So
I guess we
let
have
me-
a quota.
I have a question for Lawrence.
Oh,
Where you're working with students who are in iPads and on computers, are you seeing any difference? Maybe it's hard to evaluate, but I'm curious because when I get on the iPad and try to work on it because I want to be familiar with it, I just get, and I want to go back to my computer. What are you seeing in the way students are working with the iPad or in the computer and how their progress it goes? I mean, and I'm not putting down iPads. I think it is fantastic that we are able to have our students on iPads because students don't all have a computer at their piano. And so it's terrific. I just was wondering about your observation in the two applications.
I don't know if I can have enough examples to evaluate. Just that one person is a retired person, and she has only done online lessons. So the iPad is very difficult to use that way because we haven't been able to screen share it.
I screen share all of my students on their iPads.
Yeah.
Why
Possible.
is it
It's different.
difficult?
It's just difficult, and if someone's not comfortable with technology, you're just on Zoom,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, Zoom.
it take
Yeah.
20 minutes to try and get things going. So you
Well,
eventually
try Discord.
Yeah, I was going to say when they first use that share function, it is a learning curve. I have to say, hit share, hit broadcast, go to your application. Like there's much walking through of getting them to share their screen. But after that, they seem to do really well. I haven't had any issues with them sharing their screen. And I think almost every single one of my students is on an iPad.
So Evelyn,
Okay.
was your question just in general? If
Yeah.
kids can, yeah, I do in studio. I have everything. I have Chromebook. I have a little Windows tablet, and I have an iPad. And I find the kids are marvelously adept. We're talking about 6,
Yeah.
7, 8-year-olds,
Yeah.
and they jump in there. And sometimes they're quicker at stuff than I am. So I make sure that I practice on all 4 of those devices so that I can get caught up to them. But don't underestimate how bright this little generation is. They've grown up since age 2 on this stuff.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
the older
generous. I would
generation
say
that
one. like see you now.
well, and I know Evelyn has a lot of adult students. I have adult students, although I have to say almost every single one of my students is more technologically advanced than I am. And I'm not bad.
You need to
I have
catch
some.
up. You need to catch
I
up.
know. I think, but I actually know quite a bit. But like, they're quite advanced, and I don't know
I was
why
teasing.
that is. Well, no, you're right. I do need to. It's hard to. I should say it's hard to keep up with the technological advancements. Like they just continue to advance. And I've never owned an iPad. So my difficulty is knowing how to direct them, how to set up their Zoom like audio, for example, because they have to go into, they can't do it on the iPad. They have to do it in a browser, go into their Zoom account. and change the settings there. And so that's one thing that I have found to be a little tricky with them. But as far as like using Piano Marvel, all of my students have thrived on their iPads. They've done really well. And usually I see any updates on their device before it's even come to my device. So I'm like, oh, what's that?
I have a question,
Yeah.
just kind of sidetracking here. When an update comes out, does that update come out on all platforms simultaneously?
I don't think so.
Not often.
No, yeah, nowadays usually it's iPad first and then
Okay.
web browser. It used to be the opposite.
It used to be the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we try to get them out like pretty much at the same time, but a lot of times we test things first on the iPad because Apple takes so long to like approve new updates and stuff. So we start testing on that first, and then sometimes that'll come out first. So we try to get them out as like in conjuncture as we can, but it just doesn't usually happen that way. And we can't really do anything about that.
Yeah.
No.
And then sometimes it comes out earlier on the web. It's all pretty much up to date though. Like you may have like one update a week early or something, but it's not like it's way behind. Neither of them.
Yeah, mine
Yeah,
always
but this
comes a little later.
This is not a Piano Marvel issue. This is something general in software development. You cannot do it otherwise.
Yeah.
I want to share, first of all, Evelyn, did that answer your question? And did we understand your question correctly?
Yes.
Okay. To me, it sounded like you were asking. To me, it sounded like you were asking if there was a difference in the progression with their skills, like what they're learning in Piano Marvel, depending on what is that what you were asking or not really?
Right, yeah. So their progression makes a difference. Like, would I want to really stress, you might work better if you got a laptop.
Yeah, I would say no. I have students of using all the different platforms, and it's the same. It's the same Piano Marvel. Honestly, even on an iPhone now. Not, we don't have it ready for I know it's small. I would say you definitely want to make sure that your students are reading from regular sheet music if they're using the iPad, because that is not how sheet music looks. So they need to be acquainted with both of them. But it works. It really does. Yeah, because the iPhone just like scrolls sideways. So they definitely need to become accustomed to regular sheet music, especially if they're using the iPhone. But they all work. So I'd say whatever they have is fine. I've never had any like differences in progression based on what they were using. Would you guys agree with that?
That's what I really wanted.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was
That's
distracted.
what I've experienced.
I thought Asher has a parliamentarian look. Like he's at a point to fall asleep. Like, oh, so much talking.
Yeah. Are you sleepy?
So sweet.
Parliamentarian. I
Hysterical. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
He needs a wig, I think.
Yeah,
The
that'd be
wig,
sweet. Yeah, little curls. What do you think?
Let me share, since I have it up here, my screen to show with that original question. Now, and then maybe I'll have one of you guys look it up that's not, because sometimes some things happen on my Piano Marvel account before, it's an admin account or something like that, so it happens a little more. If you go to preferences, you can adjust the music cursor, music scrolling. But now
It's like super blurry for me. Is it blurry for anybody else?
It's super
like
pixelated. Would you mind re-sharing?
It looks
Oh,
like
sure.
a Star
Is it
Wars
still-
language also.
Is
Yeah.
it? Oh,
Oh,
well, let's
yes.
get out. We don't want that. That's not what we're going for. Let's try. Is that better?
No.
No.
Okay, tell us.
Yeah.
Or I can
It's
do
not
it.
better?
No, it's not
Oh
better.
yeah. Okay, I could tell you, or Michelle can do it. But if you go in preferences, there's now an option for guide. I can't remember what it is now. I'm looking at it. Let's see. Let me look. Preferences, guide feature, and you can turn on or off your guide button or your animations independently of one another. Which is exactly what I said. Oh, it'd be great if they have that. Oh, they have it. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so
Okay.
here, now you're seeing my Skype conversation, sorry. Okay, so this is what that looks like. So I'm in a student's account right now, so this should be how like a non-admin account would look. So if you go to preferences, guide feature, and there you go. Guide button on and off, and animations on and off.
Oh,
So yeah,
Yeah.
people can turn them
There
off.
you go.
So if they do not want to have those guide features anymore, they actually have the option to disengage them, like have those not going anymore. But is that just on our accounts, Michelle, or is that also on
No,
Lauren's or
that's
Taya?
yeah. Everybody will have that.
Everyone?
Yeah, and
Animations
Okay.
like the fireworks? Would animations be?
No, there's new animations. Oh, actually, I'll let Michelle answer. What specific animation?
I think that's everything. The whole from the fireworks to the like the little star moving and like all the like now go here, like all of that. Every animation for that would turn off. So that includes the fireworks.
wow.
A
And I
question,
would
if
never turn that off.
I have some students, they don't like to get the badge when they do these challenges every time after each song because it's like stopping them.
Yeah,
When I take off the animations, this will stop showing off every time, or
I
is this different?
Oh,
have
I
any
might have to
idea.
try
I don't know.
that.
It's new and I haven't tested that yet. I don't
Because
think
they
that's what it
prefer
was.
to do like 20 songs and then they go to the
Yeah.
list and see where they have arrived. Yeah.
I don't think
No,
that's what
that's
that
a
was
good
designed
point,
to do, but I
Diane.
could be wrong. And I would like that too because I
You know
also
what?
don't like getting the golden ticket every
Yeah.
time. It
Every
just
time.
wastes time. But yeah,
Yes,
Lawrence
exactly.
Actually,
found.
if you press escape.
Yep, Lawrence found that if you press escape before it pops up, you don't have to see the animation.
Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna try it while you guys are talking, and I'm gonna let you know what happens. I'm just gonna
Okay.
get a ticket
Cool.
and
Thank
see
you.
what happens. So
Do you
carry
wanna
on,
just
and
show
I'll
us?
join back in.
I mean, I guess
Well,
maybe not because
sure.
your screen isn't really working to
Well, I
share.
can try it. Is it still having the same problem?
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you-
it's like pixelated
Okay.
and weird, but that's okay.
I'll just mute myself. You guys don't need to hear me. You guys can talk.
Does anybody else have any other questions while we're waiting for Cami to figure that out?
Lawrence had more than one question, actually. Would you like to continue down your list?
So before I use Piano Marvel, I would always want my students to have a pencil and beside them, and I would like to. I use it myself, right? So if I want to put in an alternate fingering or highlight a note or something, or write in some counts, I could do that. I really miss being able to do that on Piano Marvel, and I've often brought this up.
I think Michelle mentioned that this is something they're working on. Michelle?
It is, but it's not going to be in the next update. It's one of those things that's going to take like a lot of figuring out how the heck we're going to do that because it's just something that it doesn't currently have the capability to do. So we're going to have to build new technology to do it. So hopefully it's not going to be as long a process as like the microphone assessment has been, because wow, but it will take a little bit longer, but that's definitely something that we will get done because it's really useful and it's something that not only teachers would use with their students, but everybody would use. So we're definitely going to.
I find myself hand copying songs entirely in MuseScore to put a different number in it, which is a huge work for our actual effects.
Myself, I upload my version so that I can put in my own fingering, and also if it's got like trills or whatever, then I want to put my own version of the trills.
Trills are working better recently. Have you done something on that? Have you worked on that?
I don't think so. There is
because last time I said that is not working, and I found a few songs where it is in fact working, and I started uploading.
Yeah, I don't think we've changed that yet because the update that I keep talking about that is going to fix a lot of things. There will be a lot of notation fixes in that, but it hasn't gone public yet. So
curious.
I don't know.
Study that a little more and report you next time.
Cool.
Very curious.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So how is it? Just annotating feature, working on it. Is there another layer of crap that you can put on, or how would that?
Broken voice. I don't hear anything. Do you?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I'm going to mute myself again while you say that and go ahead and ask that again.
Quiet down. Okay.
There you go.
Hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious how that would work, or if they need ideas of how to implement it. Would it be like another layer of graphics over top of it, and then it would, I don't know how that, if that would be feasible or not.
Could you explain
That's
something
kind
on
of
the purpose?
the question is how we're going to actually implement it. There have been several different ideas. They're all kind of hard to pull off. But one of the difficulties is that every person will have to have their own version if they change it, which means it will take a lot more for our servers to download it every time. So it's going to increase the loading time when you go see those songs that you've edited. So we're trying to figure out ways that's not going to hurt our server speed. It's just a difficult challenge because if everybody's putting in their own version of it and it's online, as opposed to when you go and actually create a MuseScore version and then you upload it, it doesn't have to do that. Not everybody has a different version that the machine has to pull up and figure out whose is whose. So it's just
So the idea is to have annotations for that purpose.
yeah. So not only finger numbers, but like Lawrence said, be able to highlight a certain note or make whatever annotations that you would like on your sheet music, but it's a very difficult challenge. So we're working on it and having a hard time figuring out how to do that without compromising other things in the program.
Yeah, that will probably not be a different layer because this is also object-based programming, I guess. So you will have to connect it with some note, each element of the sheet music.
Yeah, so it's a challenge for sure. If anybody has any ideas, we are open to them, but they're kind of, at this point, it's honestly over my head because I'm not a developer. I don't know the tech part of it. So
is Josh, who is the developer on that, Josh?
So I don't think anybody here knows him. His name is Dominique.
All right.
He's kind of our US side, and then we have another guy named Alan in Vietnam with his team. And so I don't think anybody, they're not really like front and center. They don't, I honestly haven't even seen Dom's face before because he doesn't like people to see his face. So I don't even know what he looks like.
If he likes to exchange ideas, I'm open to have a chat with him. Just drop me an email. I mean, it really depends on what he's programming because I do not really know the programming language behind Piano Marvel. I know they have different ones because I spoke already to some of the programmers there. But I can give him some ideas how I solved such problems in other software, and perhaps it helps, perhaps not. Without too much promise.
Okay, thank you.
I did the test. The ticket does still slide by when you turn off animations.
So it's escape.
We can talk about that and see if, I wonder if most people who would turn off the fireworks animation would want their tickets gone anyway. Most likely.
I would love to not have the ticket come by and not the pop-up too, because I just want to move on to the next song.
Yeah, exactly. Just one song after the other. And when you are finished, then you go to the ranks and you look how many tickets you have and everything. Yeah.
Although it is in the guide mode, like controls. So I think we have to do different controls for that one. But yeah, that's definitely something we should bring up because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it slows. Like when you're in knockout mode, in competition mode, like you just
you're like, come on,
knock them out.
It's really fascinating. I have this experience with students too that we have integrated a lot of storytelling recently in learning experiences, and most of the students want to switch them. They just want to go directly for the content. I'm not sure if that is cultural because they're so much used to learn just content or whatever, so figuring that out.
I know if I've worked hard on a song, I really want to see that ticket fly by. Like if I have spent hours on that piece or days, I'm like, you better show me a ticket because I worked so hard for it. So it really only applies when I'm doing like true sight reading, just going through a bunch. But if I'm in those harder levels and it's actual learning, I'm like, I have worked so hard for that ticket. And a lot of students, sight reading, is more limited, so they get into that learning a lot quicker. So I'm curious whether they feel the same way as I do, that they love seeing that ticket go by. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
My comment
Okay.
is, I love the improved search on the library. There's so much
Yeah.
improved. The kids,
Thank you.
yeah, you don't have to spell it exactly correctly, and it's just fabulous. That's awesome. And then
Every
also,
time.
yeah, my question is, I know that Cami pays for the subscription for some of her students, or all of them, I'm not sure. And how do you do that? If you're the one as a teacher paying for their subscription, do you just go in to your account and then find their account, via your account, and then put in your credit card?
No.
So it's a studio account. So if you have over 10 students, then you're eligible for a studio account. And it's essentially like buying in bulk. So you would have a parent account, which is where you like manage all of the students. You say which ones have access to premium and which ones don't. And then basically you pay the full amount each month, and then they pay you as part of their tuition.
Okay. And then does that automatically set you up when you have more than 10 students, or do you have to
No,
request?
you have to request it. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can email you after this. I'll just email Suzette, who does our billing stuff, and she can get it set up for you.
And then you
Yeah,
don't have to pay for all of their accounts. I mean, you just choose, but it just allows you to see more.
Yes.
where
So
they're at.
you pay for a number of accounts, like you just give a number. So I'm paying for this many, and then you add your students in, and then you can activate and deactivate them. So say if somebody goes on vacation or something, you can deactivate them, and then you don't pay for them that month.
So I do have to communicate every time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just wondering
Well,
if
I was
there's a
just gonna-
certain amount that you have to pay for, or if it was just like 3, and then that would still be worth it for me. And do you get a discount or?
No, if it's like 3 students, I it's not really worth it until you reach that 10 mark. Because you're the one that's doing all of the administration stuff. So unless they're all getting a really good discount, I don't think it's even worth it to bother with that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so you know,
think about that.
But you can have a family account. I think that works in a very similar
Yeah,
way.
you could do that.
And you can do that with only one child. Actually, it's already worth doing that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can. So
well,
if you have
Michelle?
2 children.
Sorry, maybe it would be useful if you just listed the types of accounts, the number and
Yeah, so
possibilities here.
the basic ones I think you already know. That's the monthly or the annual for just a single user. And so that's $15.99 a month for a regular one user, or $110.99 a year. And if you do use a promotional code, affiliate code, then it goes down to $12.99 a month for the monthly, but it stays the same for the annual. Then we have the family accounts, which you can buy on our store. It's essentially, I guess, so there's that one where you just do online. And now with the family accounts, the second tier would be like all of the gift cards, family accounts, everything that you buy on our store. So there's gift cards that you can give to yourself or other people. When we go on sale, that's where you find those, is in the store. So you get it for cheaper. And some people will do that where they'll buy like lots of gift codes during a sale so that they can use them in future years. So that's a way to get discounts. We always have a sale for Black Friday and for Christmas. And then occasionally we have like a flash sale. Also in that page, you have the family accounts, which is 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe. I don't think there's a 6, unless I'm wrong, but it basically gives you the same advantage where you get slightly cheaper accounts, and it gets cheaper and cheaper the more you have. So same sort of concept, just not as big of discounts as like a full studio. And then there's like semester accounts for people in college and stuff, so where it's just 4 months.
And so do you just go on the website to find those different accounts?
Yeah, so it's Music Marvel, not Piano Marvel. That's where our store is. musicmarvel.com/store. and then you click on the gift cards, I think, and then there's just all those different options. And I can post that in the Facebook comments of this video so that everybody can just click the link if that's easier. And then the final one after that is the studio account. So that's where we set it up, and you have to go through our billing. And if you change anything, you have to let us know so that we can change the amount that we bill you. So it's just a little bit more work, but you get the biggest discount. So it really is worth it if you have a larger studio. But if you're under 10 students, I don't recommend it.
I have more than 10 students, but I don't know if I want to switch them all over. I guess I could. So instead of being 12, like I know you get $2 back for every student that signs up under you.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a bigger discount if you have the studio account, or a bigger kickback? I mean,
Yeah, so how many students do you have total? 12. So yeah, you'd be under it's by tier. So you're at 10. So I think you'd be spending $9 a month per student. So it is a discount for them. It may be worth it for you to change it, but it may not be. You're kind of at that like barely over the threshold where it just kind of depends on your students and what they want to do and what's easiest for you. So yeah,
Well,
just depends.
and some benefits and like some pros and cons to the different ones. Like if you can get the sell on the annual specifically, it's a really like low per month amount. It's even less than $8 a month on when it's on the sale. The con to that one is like I had a student who broke his arm, couldn't play piano for 3 months. You can't turn it off for 3 months and turn it back on. It's like it's in a year it's over kind of thing. But with the managed account, every time you get a new student or lose a student, you have to communicate with Piano Marble and have those adjustments made within like your billing that you're paying for all of that stuff. And then of course with the discounted the affiliate code, you always get that little kickback, but it's very independent. Like if they come or go, they can do that on their own. So they all have benefits and pros and cons to them for people to weigh.
In the case of the studio account, I don't have experience with that, but I'm thinking to organize something, and I would do it the way that you do it, like a yearly payment. I mean, like when you have a yearly account, you can neither switch it off, and you ask your students to pay like 1 month ahead. So you collect the money first. Because of my experience with students, otherwise you pay and half of the students say, it's not better.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you have just 1 year they have paid and they know what they want to do with this payment.
I personally just have my students deal with their own payment, and I give them my code so that they can get the monthly cheaper if they want to do monthly, or most of the time I just recommend the yearly since it's cheaper overall. But I only teach a handful, so for me that makes most sense, and I don't want to have to be dealing with all that, So
yeah, and I do the studio account because it's for my students. It's really simple. Like they pay one tuition fee, and it's automatically through a subscription plan, so they don't even have to think about it. It takes care of everything. So I'm trying to make their life easy, and it's less expensive for me. So yeah, each one is like kind of like what fits best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why we have all the options, but it does make it more complicated. So it's just something you got to figure out for yourself, and we're happy to help you like talk through it and figure out which one is better, because we have helped hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of teachers at this point do the same thing. So if you have questions, let us know and we're happy to talk through it.
Yeah,
Okay,
and of
thank
course,
you.
the affiliate code you can actually use for people who aren't your students too. Like
True.
if you tell people about Piano Marble, you can say, hey, you can use this affiliate code for a discount. So that one has that added bonus. They don't even have to be your student. Like they could be somebody you told about Piano Marble in any way, whether it be online or in person. Or
So that brings me to my other question. Piano Marble gives you $2 for every person that uses your affiliate code under you. And many times I'm only getting like $4. And so is that do they not give that to you if the students have signed up for the yearly?
So
payment?
yeah, if they're yearly, you get $8 per year. So it'll be on the whenever they renew, then you'll get the $8. So if you had like 5 students pay at the same time, then you'll get a big lump in 1 month and then a lot less throughout the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, $2 per month, $8 per year, depending on which they're paying for.
Okay. That makes
Is
sense.
that with the gift cards?
No, that's well. Oh wait, I have no idea. So
Like,
if you
how do they pay for a year?
given, yeah,
The gift card, you get the kickback. I kind of think you don't, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I thought you didn't either. That's why I was like, you get a kickback? I didn't
no.
know
So
this.
the yearly, just like regular yearly piano marble. Like if you're paying for the subscription, the
Right.
yearly subscription.
Oh, you can. Oh, I have never had anybody do that. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's what all my
Because-
students do. So I get like a big lump like in 1 month and then like nothing throughout the year. So it's just,
So
yeah.
essentially, they can pay through subscription or gift card, and
Yeah.
if they go through subscription and use your code when they go through subscription,
Then you get
then
$8
you'll get the $8 per year,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because they're paying less, so
Right.
you wouldn't get as much of a kickback.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
don't get a decreased charge for the yearly that way, right?
Sorry, what was that? You don't what?
The code, or not the code, the recommendation,
Subscription?
but they don't get a discount for putting in that whatever it's called. Sorry.
Like, so the promotional code, your students, if they use a promotional code, or you will get a discount if they're doing the monthly, but not if they're doing the yearly. Yeah, because yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if
But the benefit of
Never
go ahead.
mind. No, you go.
I want to hear from you.
I'm just gonna look it up instead of asking. So
Oh,
you
okay.
go.
Okay. I was going to say, and I'm just throwing these out. The benefit of the gift card is you don't have to use it right away. Like if you're wanting to wait and use it a certain month, you can get it when it's on a discount, or really good discount. They have some really good discounts at the Black Friday, and I don't even remember what they are, but I was like, that's a good deal. The benefit of that is you can use it when you're ready to use it, or give it as a gift. That's the gift card. But Piano Marble is working on making it easier to share Piano Marble with other people. I don't know exactly, Michelle's gone, but I know they're working on something to make that much easier. So if you're like, oh, you should try Piano Marble, you can share it with them. Much easier kind of thing. But I don't know exactly what that would look like or how it works yet. And in fact, how would you guys like it to look or work? Because they're probably trying to decide right now.
What? Sorry, I didn't get that.
There's a I think your question was how would we like the sharing and referring and everything to look, right?
Yeah, like say you're you like on my website, for example, you can hit invite to join our studio, and it will just send an email out from you that's pre-made that invites them to participate in your studio. I haven't used it, I should. Or if you're on social media and you hit share, and it just directly allows you to share kind of things. I don't know what it would look like, but anyway, Karen Faye, what were you saying?
I was just looking at something. Remember I told you that I was inspired to add solar panels to my huge list of things that I'd like to do. But their referral network, I'm just going to copy and paste it into the chat because it's, I don't know, you just fill in a small form. They have a contact form, and you get, okay, now these are obviously huge numbers because they're not going to work for Piano Marble at all. These are for solar panels, but it goes like 5 levels deep so that people are financially motivated to share and to, you know, save the world in 10 years before we're at 5 out of 10,000 parts carbon and we start getting swarmed with bugs. I just learned all this yesterday. It's gonna happen.
I'm looking
gonna
for
be a
something
plague.
like that to deal with studios or especially with conservatories and public institutions, because
Yes.
to work with them is a huge issue. I mean, in time and effort, and you will not get anything back if they subscribe. So this is really something I think it would be cool. I would have the access, but I know how hard it is, especially because actually my interest is to include more this digital learning. So I'm not interested in getting new students or that I really need like a subscription base. But I really believe in Piano Marvel as the right tool for that. At least at the moment, I haven't found anything better. So I think this would be so cool to bring it into public schools and into conservatories as a support tool. But of course, that is really like no way to get that effort back. So
it is a lot. I have to tell you, I was working with just so that it ends up being on the video. I was working with the schools, trying to get Piano Marble into schools, and it is so much work. It is political. It is like getting the right audience. It's speaking at 20 conferences first so that they think somebody else may have liked it, or it's insane the amount of red tape and barriers that are up. But financially incentivizing anything, including saving the world, by the way, you know, the planet that's going to burn up in 10 years. Did I mention that already? That's what will get people moving, is a financial incentive. It's sad, but
it's not that sad.
Fast.
I mean,
no,
you must see it's often also the case that you cannot dedicate so much time to it if you're not getting paid for it, at least a minimum amount. I mean, you have still the risk that people will not be interested after 20 conferences, but if they are, you will get something back, because otherwise you could just, people are just harvesting or sewing or something like that, and they get more money. So, I mean, we have to buy food and we have to pay our cars and everything. So, I mean, that's the reason why sometimes people don't move, because it's just not possible. That's also with solar panels, it's the same process. You have to really convince people, you have to drive around, you have to speak with people. I mean, you cannot do that for free. That costs you energy, and I mean, energy is money. I mean,
yes, time is money, baby. Right?
Well,
everybody
and we were
supposed to agree or laugh or something. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had something else on my mind. I was just thinking about how we were in a meeting recently. We're talking about how, like, before you've used Piano Marble, you really don't know what it is. Like, it's you think, oh, it's an app. Oh, and you think of all the apps that are out there, and you kind of lump it in with all the apps that are out there, and you think it's an app. But as soon as somebody uses Piano Marble, they're like, oh my goodness, like, look at all these things it does. Look how robust this is. Look, this is an amazing tool. And we found it's hard to help people understand what the app does, because they already have in their mind, it's an app. You know, it's like all these other apps. It just does what all these other apps do. And then when you try to explain it, so we were talking about how important it is to understand that what kind of communication is needed to help people understand what it is, like what it does. And we talked about, for example, when I started Piano Marble, and I would be curious to hear what your guys' experience was. When I started Piano Marble, I was specifically Googling sight reading tools, because what I was using for me I felt there's got to be something better out there than this, because it just was not as good as what I was looking for. And I found Piano Marble. All I was looking at was sight reading. I wanted to improve sight reading. And when I got into Piano Marble, I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is so much more than sight reading. Like, holy cow. And I think everybody, I'm curious, but I'm wondering if everybody has a story like that. They had a specific issue they were looking to solve, and they found Piano Marvel that way. Would any of you like to share kind of
Yeah.
how you discovered Piano Marvel and why, and what you were looking for?
May I?
Yeah.
There were a
you
lot of
go
hands
ahead.
raised, so I'm
Thanks.
like, okay.
Sorry. I had
Yeah.
I actually was introduced to Piano Marvel by a student. She's an adult student working on her sight reading. She really had a lot of drive to become an excellent sight reader because she understood, literacy is independence. So she went for it. She was using it for her and her kids for 2 or 3 years. And she showed it to me, guys. She showed it. I'm not supposed to say guys anymore. Y'all, she showed it to me on 2 separate occasions. And I was like, because I was a piano snob. Okay. I was a piano snob. They were using a digital piano. And I just didn't pay it any attention. And then her sight reading became so good that I was like, oh my goodness, what have you been doing? She was like, I've showed you. And it was kind of, I mean, I had to go and just I had to take it on as I'm going to evaluate this, and maybe, more of my students need it. And within a week, I was on the phone with Michelle, let me in at this. We need it everywhere. Children need it for their brains everywhere. Do you know, I just feel like the world is becoming a little less astute in some ways, and music is a whole brain activity. And it's a tough sell to big schools like we were just talking about. But my student introduced me to it. I'm embarrassed to say I did not research and find it on my own, but it's obviously
so interesting
very
because it was
useful.
the same. It's interesting because it was the same. It was sight reading for that student. It just came from the other direction. Somebody. That's kind of cool that it can come from either way. I know other people were raising their hands. There was Lawrence and Tabea.
Lawrence, please.
Okay, I think what caught me first was the breaking it down into little chunks. That's what I was looking for, something like that. I was starting to practice that way myself, and then Piano Marvel was looking for a Canadian partner, so they contacted Academy of Music, who I teach through as an independent contractor. And then Michelle started doing a teacher training, right? So I kind of dived into it, and then I used that as a way to increase my teaching skills, and started thinking strongly about how to do things better as far from the teaching side. And now I'm using it a lot just for myself, actually. So sight reading is a big thing for me. I've gone from 800 to over 1,000 in about a year.
In your sight reading?
So,
That's
Great
hard
job.
to get over that.
Amazing.
That's the hardest bump in the road, isn't it? Between their 800 to 1,200. I find that's the real.
That's where I'm living.
Yeah, that you learn how to get over that. You're a hero, Lawrence.
Well, and I feel like I wonder, but I had the same experience of Lawrence that I was researching for my students, and I really want to help them with their sight reading. And now I'm like a Piano Marvel junkie. I can see myself progressing. So
But we stopped using the term user.
Oh, maybe that's the problem.
Yes.
Users. We're all users.
We're learners, not users.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll have to use a different word than junkie, but you know what I mean? I recognize the potential for me as myself to develop. It could take me to the next level and the next level. And so that's kind of cool side effect. But essentially, you were saying you had something like this chunking that you were wanting to do, and it happened to be the studio you worked for had Michelle come. And so you got to come to a training and you're like, oh, this does what I'm looking for. So
Right.
is that kind of how it happened?
Yes, yes. And I wasn't actively looking for some kind of, I didn't know that, right? So I didn't know to look for it.
And when you went to that training, did you get to like try it, or did she
So
just demo?
I didn't actually go there. It was online. So
It was virtual.
I
Oh,
met with
okay.
everybody, I think together once and then individually. Lawrence was awesome. He had questions like every day for like 2 months or something. Like he was just learning. Like, yeah, it was really cool to watch him just like dig into it and be like, this is what I was looking for. So yeah, it was really cool.
I have seen almost, oh, I just spit at all of you. I have seen that, sorry, you're protected. There's a screen. I have seen that the people, or a lot of the teachers who start using Piano Marvel tend to be teachers who are really hungry to learn, progress, and give the best to their students. It seems to attract a specific kind of teacher.
It does.
So that makes sense with Lawrence.
Yeah, it's the
Tabea?
teacher that is not content to do the same thing forever, and they want to continue progressing. That's the teacher that
And
Piano Marvel
problem
tends to,
solvers.
yeah, problem solvers.
Problem
Absolutely.
solvers. Yep.
So I find I struggle a bit with how to motivate people to get that motivation that I have myself, right? So for a while, I was trying to give rewards for like keeping a streak going and then keeping a streak going after your lesson and stuff like that. One thing that Aaron said in a video is that it's more important what happens after the piano lesson than during, right? So I started emphasizing the day after your lesson. What are you going to do? And then I found that the streak thing is kind of good if they actually buy into it. But if they have a long streak and then they break it, then it's demotivating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right now.
I've seen that too.
We'll fix that. We're gonna come up with streak savers like Duolingo, but yeah, it's sad to watch your students be like, well, I don't even want to. And me, if I lose a long streak, I'm like, there's no point in practicing today. Like,
I know.
it's like a diet.
Shuts
You
down the whole
eat
thing.
one donut and you're like, I'm done. The whole weekend's ruined. Like, but
We both had a 51-day streak or something. You remember that?
yeah,
Telling my
I'm terrible with streaks.
and I kept going after that, but Michelle broke it. So.
I did. Yeah. Okay. I have 2 little babies and it is really hard. So one of these days when they're a little older, I'm going to get a year straight, but that is not this year. So that's okay.
I have found that I'm motivated by the clubs. Like I want to be in the 7-day straight club. For me, I'm like, I want to be in the year club. Like, cause
Yeah,
that's the
like
last club. And then I feel
elite.
like
Yeah.
I've arrived.
Yeah.
The competition aspect is, yeah, like when and not like a personal competition, just like competition with yourself to choose where
just
you want to see
the
yourself.
challenging yourself and having benchmarks that you can actually like have goals
Exactly.
to reach. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're goal oriented, all of those things are super motivating to be like, I want to be part of this club.
It is.
And
Go ahead, Anne.
On the SATSAR test, it'll say tips to improve your sight reading, and then it gives you several suggestions. And one of them is to take the sight reading test every day. Have you done that personally, any of you, or had success with your students doing that? And what kind of results have you gotten?
I did it myself at one point. I was talking to Heidi, Michelle's mom, about it at the time. And that was when I broke 900. Since then, I'm not interested in doing that. I do practice sight reading every day, but I don't do the test every day. The test is something different than practicing, I feel.
Yeah.
And that was kind of before the Samurai was built, so it's that serves kind of the same purpose, but it's a little better than just taking the test every day. I would say it does work though, and not something to do often, but like I've had students do it. I've done it myself. The 30 days, taking a sasser every day. Maybe 30 days is kind of much for some students, but like you don't want to demotivate them, and that can happen if they're not enjoying it. But for some students, it works really well just to do once. It does kind of usually help my students get over a hump. Like if they've been stuck at 400 for a while and they're just wanting to reach that next level, usually the 30 days sasser challenge gets them there.
Yeah, and I've done a couple things. I did the Sasser Challenge every day for 30 days, and then I did the Samurai every day for 30 days, and then I've done the challenges every day for 30 days. Like they're all sight reading, but they're all kind of a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we don't talk about is taking a break from sight reading. Sometimes I'll push really hard on every day I do the Sasser, and every day I do Samurai, and every day I do the challenge, and my score does not budge for months, and I'm working hard. It doesn't mean I'm not making progress with my sight reading, but sometimes I will take a break from sight reading for 2 weeks, and then I take the Sasser, and it's like jumps. I have no idea what the psychology is involved with that. I don't know if that works, if that's a me thing, or if that happens to other people.
So that actually happened after I had Asher. I hadn't practiced the piano at all in like 3 or 4 months at all. And I had been like stuck on my sasser score for a while. And I got my high score the first time I practiced after having him and not touching a piano for 4 months. So, you never know.
I feel like you need a settling period. You get to a certain stage and you are very slightly gathering more skills or polishing different skills. Like I was always working on my left hand pinky, and I was just constantly thinking about my left hand pinky. Yeah, because then you know where to build from, and you can feel the space. And I'm like feeling the parameter, and then I overthought it, and you take a break. I know when I came back from Newfoundland, my sight reading score did not improve, but man, did I ever know my parameter. It like I was always nailing my outside pinkies. I think it's just time on those things, but so I have no idea.
It's funny, I do this breaking thing even with my horses, because that's the way they learn best. So do something at a time, and then I break they take a rest, and then they recover it a week later or so. But I wanted to answer to your earlier question. Well, first of all, I think if you are like a day without Piano Marvel and you feel that you are missing something, and if you have a few free seconds and you always think I could do 5 minutes or 10 minutes Piano Marvel, then you end up 40 minutes. I think that is like a little bit being a junkie. So I feel like a Piano Marvel junkie too. And the reason why I found Piano Marvel was a different one. It was actually the feedback. I was looking for feedback, objective one through a system like this app, and the subjective one through a community, because I was also looking for others doing the same, and students you can not compete in this competition way, more in the way like, let's see how somebody else is doing that, or somebody else is playing the same thing. And we have this with these YouTube challenges and all these kind of things. And I searched that actually for my students. And when I saw it, it's like, that's for me. So really, yeah, I think that is also very important. I communicated as like that. Piano Marvel is not an app. It's first of all a community. The app is only one tool of the many things. It's a method as well. I mean, you have the whole theory behind it, which is developed by, can I say, your father?
Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not simply an app. I mean, it really follows a logic, and I think this is also the power of it. And if you communicate that, I think different people will also be attracted. Sight reading is something I really was not interested in, and I found out that it's cool. Since I have the app, it was something that really nobody's interested in here.
So far we've had 3 or 4 different things that people were searching for, very different. So was it Google searches you were doing, Tabea?
Yeah,
that led you to it?
Yeah, Google or something else. I have different search engines, but
was it difficult for you to find it? Did it take a lot of research? to find Piano Marvel?
This is very difficult to say because most probably I didn't find it when I searched for it. I'm searching almost 50% of my work time, something. And since there is the AI and the big data of all these Google systems, they come always up with things in a very interesting way. They combine things. And then, yeah, I do not know in which way I found it. I will have to leave you now. I wish you a nice.
That's all right. Thank you for
evening.
coming.
See you next
Thanks,
week.
Thea.
Yes. Bye.
It is
Thanks for
getting
sharing.
it is getting a little bit late now.
Oh, you're muted, Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Sorry about that. I was saying it's getting a little bit late and we've talked about a lot of things. So we probably should wrap it up pretty soon, but I'd like to hear from Anne and Evelyn. I mean, this was a long time ago that they, especially Evelyn, that they
Both hands?
joined Piano Marvel. Oh, we didn't hear from Ann Q either, but I was thinking because I knew actually, but yeah, everybody should hear. Let's hear from both Anns and Evelyn. Just a short, like how you found Piano Marvel and what you were looking for.
I can't remember. I honestly cannot remember. It's
But
forever.
Michelle says she knows.
Okay, well, tell me the answer because I don't know.
Well, I was saying I remember when you came on, and I don't remember when Ann Hansen or Evelyn did because it was longer ago, you know. So
I've been on, you know, when I came on as a teacher person, but I've been using it for years and years.
that's
and
true.
years, you know.
Yeah.
So somewhere back, maybe it was one of your staff. I don't know if it was Josh or Aaron gave a talk at a Let's Play Music Symposium. But I don't know if I already knew it at that time or if that's when I started because I've been using it for many, many years.
For yourself, yeah.
For my kids, no, I used it in the classroom right away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll talk more about that later, right?
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're gonna have Anne maybe next week. Do you want to do that next week, Anne? Just talk about your methodology, how you do it in your studio.
And Q, right?
That's
Yes.
different. Yeah, wait a minute. That's different than talking about the Let's Play Music program and what
It is. So I guess you haven't read my last email. We were talking about this.
We should talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Maybe next week we'll hear from Anne. Maybe not. But yeah. So Ann Hansen, how did you come about finding Piano Marvel?
I was up at Dane's Music. I live in St. George, but Dane's Music is in Salt Lake City, and I think it was there, or maybe it came in my mail. I got this little postcard, and it said, "Learn to play the hymns boot camp." And being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I had a lot of students of my faith and their mothers. That was their main goal is I just want my child to learn to be able to play the hymns.
Yeah.
The hymns are like level 6, 7. They're difficult, right? And so we do a lot of congregational singing, and they wanted their kids to be able to participate and play and accompany. And so that caught my eye. If you do a fast track to learn to play the hymns, there's got to be a secret, and I wanted to know what that was. So I attended this workshop on the little postcard, and it was at Dane's Music. I think I did get it in the mail, and then I was up there visiting my family and was able to attend. And my little grandson, it was probably when Piano Marvel was fairly new. I don't know how old is Piano Marvel, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Piano Marvel was 2008 is when it was founded. So it's been a while now.
Maybe it's been that long and time flies for me. But anyway, my little grandson, Aaron had asked for people to bring volunteers to demonstrate it. And so he came up on the stage and he had him play method 1A, number 1, with the whole notes. And he struggled. And so then Aaron said, okay, close your eyes and try it. And so he closed his eyes and he did it perfectly. And I think he was just maybe 6 or, not very old at the time. And that was just really impressive to me. So that summer, I converted my basement into a learn to play the hymns boot camp. studio and bought 6 laptops and 6 keyboards, and my husband thought I was crazy, but then I figured out that Piano Marvel was much more about learning to play the hymns, and they had their method and their technique and the library. And so then I switched all my students over to Piano Marvel slowly, and I'm now just doing that. So
Man,
Awesome.
it seems like everybody had a
Has
very,
a very different
specific
need. Yeah.
and then
Interesting.
discovered the rest.
So I
Yeah.
found my
Yeah.
first Sasser was 2015.
2015. Okay.
Okay.
I was in high school at the time. So that was wow.
And I'm curious to hear Evelyn's story because it,
I think that's about what
I
I did.
mean, is there anybody who joined before Evelyn? That's what I want to know. Like,
Yes.
she's
Her name is
Okay.
Lisa Bush.
Oh.
And that's how I learned about it. I was in Grand Junction and in that teacher group, and Lisa Bush was getting involved in Piano Marvel. And of course, Lisa and I are right here in Colorado. And very soon I traveled down to Rye. I made many trips down to Piano Marvel. But yeah, it was, and I right away started using it in Skype. And the other one was TeamViewer. Aaron and Sean
Microsoft.
helped me understand how to use TeamViewer. And so, yeah, I was right there at the very beginning, 2008 or 9. And it was
So-
through my teaching friend, Lisa Bush. And then, of course, then got the Piano Marvel into the university. And yeah, it's awesome. And the changes and growth have just been tremendous.
So when Lisa shared it with you, did she just talk about it? Did she like show you? Or do you remember? That's a while
She
ago.
told me about it and said, check it out. And I did.
Okay.
And that's impressive because back then it was like, yeah, it was hardly anything. Like we just had the method and technique, I think. I guess like a repertoire section. Do you remember ever meeting me, Evelyn, when I was a little kid?
Oh, yeah, I remember you. I remember you.
Yeah, I was, I think, 10 or 11 when Piano Marvel came out. And I don't remember you specifically. I just remember all these and they were all women, all these lady teachers coming in and trying it and all that. So it was a lot of fun. But
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
it was cool.
and the interesting thing
I
is
think the thing
there
I remember that really stood out, one time when we were there, you demonstrated, you were with a group singing. And I remember that real well.
Yeah. So that was it a cappella? It was a
Yes.
group that, yeah. So it was when I was a senior in high school. We used Piano Marvel. I put in the parts for it was doing it for my senior project. Basically, I was going to teach all these girls these parts to this a cappella song. Not vocalists, by the way. Some of them were pianists, but that was it. And we were going to teach them all these parts using Piano Marvel, and then create a music video for it. And I can share it with you if you want to see it. It's very embarrassing now, but it's funny.
No, it's not. And that's something we all need to remember. Those early experiences show growth. And it's fun to see that growth. So you be proud of that.
I am. I'm very proud. It took a lot of work. And without Piano Marvel, it would have been impossible because what we did was we split up the different sections, vocal sections, and had them come in and learn their parts on the piano and then sing along to their parts, and then had them basically hearing it everywhere they went in their cars and just like singing and singing. So these weren't vocalists, but we successfully pulled off this really difficult a cappella piece. I think it was 8 parts. And we went on basically a little tour for graduations and funerals and a bunch of stuff around, the local area when we got done, because it turned out really well. So it was a cool experience.
Very well done.
Thank you.
And I have to
think
say,
we'd all love to see that.
What was that?
what?
We'd all love to see that.
Okay, let me grab the link really quick. It's so embarrassing because we hadn't really finished getting the parts like learned before the deadline was running out, so we had to record the video, which means we had to record the vocals. So like it is not as good on the recording as it turned out being like when Evelyn heard it, but it's still, you know, it took a lot of work and we were all a bunch of teenagers, so it was pretty impressive for that. But I'll go find it.
I was going to say, I think for a lot of teachers who have found Piano Marvel and use Piano Marvel in their studios, I relate it to like something like when you get married or when you have kids and you say, what was it like before we had kids? What was it like before we got married?
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different, like it just shifts the whole dynamic of the teaching experience. At least that's what I'm hearing from most people. So it is curious to see like where that transition happened, why it happened, and you know where it went from there. So I appreciate everybody sharing. Just kind of
I'll
what that-
tell
what
you
that was
who
for them.
I also remember, and that's your young brother.
Probably Jacob. Yeah, he's a few years younger than me. Yeah, he's fun. He's probably the one of all four of us siblings who is the best pianist. So it's always fun to hear him play. And he composes as well. And he's the only one of us that really composes well. So he's kind of my dad's mini-me. Yeah, but thank you. So I just put the link to that in the chat if you guys did want to go see it. It's, you know, we were teenagers and it was fun. But I have one more thing before we go. We would like to do we're considering doing a, what's it called?
Can
Like
you
a
hear
marketing
that?
campaign.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, what was that?
I had a video that popped on. Didn't know if you guys, it was mentioned.
Oh, no.
Sorry, go
No.
ahead.
But so we're thinking of doing a video campaign where basically people who use Piano Marvel of all different types and places and everything will say like, my name is this and this is how I use Piano Marvel, and basically just like a really fast, quick, this is why I use
That's a
Piano
great
Marvel,
idea.
and then at the end say, this is why it's my Piano Marvel, something like that. So it'd be like a really quick, I know if a lot of you are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, including myself, if you remember like the I'm a Mormon videos from a few years ago, it'd be similar to that, where it's like, this is my name, this is what I do, very fast, quick, just to like get how everybody uses it for a different purpose. So we can show people, hopefully get enough of them that we can appeal to lots of different kinds of people by showing them someone that's like them, that has the same need or the same reason to use it, so that they can say, hey, that's what I'm looking
The need
for.
that was met.
So would you guys want to participate in that? Just take a video and say, I'm Ann Q and this is why I use Piano Marvel. Yeah? Cool. Ann's like, yes. Awesome. I think it would be really, really good to get you guys, because you use it so well and in so many diverse ways. I think it would be really awesome. So I will reach out to you guys individually about how, like, because we'll have like a script of what you need to say, and then just have like blanked out like your parts that you need to come up with, and how you need to shoot it and stuff like that. So it'll probably be a couple of weeks before I reach out to you. But if you're interested, I would love to see you guys on some of those. It'd be really cool. Cool. Thank you. All right. Does anybody have anything else before we finish up? No, nothing. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I know this was like a kind of random Q&A, but I think we talked about some good things. Hopefully it answered some questions for people. And we will see you next week, maybe for Anne's presentation. So
I think so. I can do it.
cool.
Yeah, we'll just figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. We'll see you guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.